thank you for the nice invitation. And I'm here to talk about our allergy program and more about basic themes. Why are we allergic and what can we do about it? And so you have probably heard a lot about these comparisons between Western Europe and Eastern Europe, Sweden, Estonia, and we also had this study comparing Finnish part of Karelia and Russian part of Karelia. Happened? And Finnish part is very modern, whereas the Russian part is quite rural. And as expected, we saw these marked differences between the prevalence of allergic diseases in asthma, hay fever, and allergic sensitization. And these were more pronounced in younger individuals compared to older individuals. It's not just allergy epidemic. We see this increase of many non-communicable illnesses like IBD, cancer, type 1 diabetes, non-Hodgkin lymphomas. All these chronic severe illnesses are increasing in these modern societies. And this is really alarming. Let's look at type 1 diabetes, for example. We see like 6 or 7-fold difference in the prevalence of this severe illness between Finnish side and Russian Karelia. And the distance is only like 200-300 kilometers. Really, our immune system is kind of turning against us in these modern clean environments. So I think the important question is, what is causing allergic disease? We have this clinical illness, clinical symptoms. Here is an asthmatic person. You see this variation in peak flow, low in the morning, better in the evenings. So we come to the question, what is causing this functional abnormality? Well, the answer is inflammation. Here's healthy bronchus, healthy epithelium, and here is the asthmatic bronchus and asthmatic epithelium. There's influx of inflammatory cells, thickened basement membrane, epithelial damage. So what is causing this inflammation? Well, according to current literature, it is the lack of immune balance. No longer we talk about Th1, Th2 imbalance. It's more like Th1, Th17 compared to Treg and Th2 cells. In normal individuals, when the Th2 cells increase, Th1 components as well increase. There's the balance. But in atopic individuals, there is no such increase, and kind of this allergy inflammation wins. Now we come to the question, what is causing the lack of immune balance? The answer is, according to current literature, loss of microbial diversity. You have probably heard a lot about this gut microbiome and also respiratory microbiome, but also here's some data of skin microbiome. On the left there are healthy individuals. There's a rich microbiome. It's well connected to immune system, especially to IL-10, which is anti-inflammatory cytokine and downregulates these Th1 and Th2 mechanisms. But in atopic individuals, there's a poor microbiome, less connected to immune system and less connected to these anti-inflammatory mechanisms. Now we come to the question, what is causing the loss of microbial diversity? And the answer is change in lifestyle and the loss of environmental biodiversity. No longer are we talking about hygiene hypothesis or microbes pathogenic microbes or microbial burden in general, but basically every living organism around us. Also concerning microworld, all molds, fungi, microbiome, viruses, microorganisms, but also plants, animals, everything around us. And if we compare barn dust to urban house dust, we see this twofold difference between the living organisms in this barn dust. In the macro world, if you look at the green areas, simply green areas around our homes, we see that more there are green areas around our homes, there are less respiratory atopy. In young children, a bit older children, and in adolescents also. And this also concerns farmers, non-farmers, and cities, and different ages. So basically, a change in lifestyle is needed in the modern societies. Our microbiome is influenced by basically all we inhale, what we drink, what we eat, what we touch. Green areas around our homes and environmental biodiversity is important. The living conditions, pets, livestock, and especially we are losing this connection to nature, especially the soil. So as a quick summary, why are we allergic? We have this clinical illness. It's due to inflammation. It's due to lack of immune balance. It is due to loss of microbial diversity, impaired gene environmental interactions, and that's due to loss of environmental biodiversity, and it's really due to how we live our lives, what we eat, drink, inhale, and touch. And there's more and more scientific evidence of this cascade. And of course, genetics is important because some individuals are more susceptible than the others. So action was needed, and therefore this 10-year allergy program was initiated in Finland, just completed last year. And the key messages were to endorse health, not allergy, especially to strengthen tolerance, to adapt new attitude to allergy, and avoid allergens only if mandatory. Recognize and treat severe allergies early and prevent attacks and exacerbations, and improve air quality and stop smoking. Basically, it was a huge educational effort. Education, education, education. The steering group was very small, about 10 persons, and there were lots of events all over the country, like 2-3 events in the same area during the time span of 10 years. And only about 2 persons from the steering group was involved in these symposia. There were 2-hour symposia, half-day symposia, full-day symposia. And the idea was to engage locals to these events. 2 persons from the steering group and other 10 or so were locals, and the topics were ones that are locally important. If the treatment of asthma was the problem in the area, then it focused on asthma. If the immunotherapy was the problem, then it focused on immunotherapy, and so on. If self-management plans were the problem, then it focused on those. All about engaging locals and basically delivering the same message all over the country. There were lots of participants, simply healthcare professionals, over 20,000 in these events during the time span of 10 years. Lots of material in the internet. This is just one promotion about outdoor daycare activities in daycare. And here is the message about the primary prevention of allergies. We really wanted to turn the avoidance strategy to tolerance strategy in the program. There was too much testing, too much treatment of mild symptoms, too much elimination diets, and so on in Finland. So the primary prevention message was to support breastfeeding and to start solid foods from age 4 to 6 months. No avoidance of environmental allergen exposure, including foods and pets, if not proven necessary. So you don't need to care about mild symptoms. And especially to strengthen immunity by increasing contact with natural environments, for example, regular physical exercise, healthy diet, such as traditional Mediterranean or Baltic diet, and local food. Antibiotics only for true need. And majority of microbes are useful and build healthy immune function. Probiotic bacteria in fermented food or other preparations may strengthen immune function. And no smoking, because part of smoking raises asthma risk in children. So this is the primary prevention message. And let's look at the secondary or tertiary prevention. Same statements go to exercise, healthy diet, and probiotics. And here we emphasize treating respiratory or skin inflammation early and effectively. And maintenance treatment should be titrated for better long-term control. And exacerbation should be stopped proactively. And we promote immunotherapy, and also, of course, smoking is strictly avoided. So what are the results? Here are some of the midterm results. First, the aims, and then the outcomes that have been reached. To prevent allergies, the indicator of the aim was to reduce the prevalence of asthma, rhinitis, atopic eczema by 20%. And we have reached the decrease of 30% in the incidence of asthma in high-risk children. To improve tolerance, the indicator of the aim was that food allergy diets should reduce by 50%. And we have reached a decrease of 40% in allergy diets in daycare. To improve allergy diagnostics, and the indicator was that the patient should be tested in certified testing centers. So far, 30 or so hospital other testing centers have been educated, audited, and certified. And to reduce work-related allergies, the aim was to reduce them by 50%. And so far, we have reached the decrease of 40%. And to focus on severe allergies and treat them early. And we have reached a decrease in emergency visits by 46% and asthma hospital days by 67%. And of course, to reduce allergy and asthma costs, the aim was to reduce them by 20%. So far, we have managed to reduce them by 5%. And then I have some examples. I skipped these VC slides because I have another presentation about them. I jump to these elimination diets at daycare. These were really popular like 10 or 20 years ago. And here's one study from Helsinki area involving like 40 daycare centers. And simply by accepting the elimination diets based on doctor's certificate, we were able to reduce these diets by 43%. You can imagine how much hassle it's in daycare to serve all these special diets. And we need to hit increasing symptoms early. We have adopted many of these self-management plans for allergic rhinitis, anaphylaxis, asthma in small children, atopic eczema, food allergy, urticaria. They are all available on the internet, and they are similar all over the country. And really, the parents should increase the medication early when the symptoms increase. And let's look at the prevalence numbers of severe allergies. We had the asthma program, like 10-year asthma program in the 90s. Then we had this allergy program 2008 to 2018. And the severe uncontrolled asthma has decreased from 20% to 2.5% in the country. And the improvement has been made really in children. These emergency care visits are reduced in children the last 20 years by actually 63% in children. And also we see major decrease in hospital days, 67% decrease. And about the costs, we estimate that the direct and indirect costs of allergy and asthma in Finland is about 1.3 to 1.6 billion, and our population is 4.4 billion. And according to this program, we estimate that the savings have been at least 5%. In other words, 65 to 80 million per year, simply by better education. Education is the key. And if you look at direct costs, asthma is the leader, but if you look at the indirect costs, like disability, sick leaves, productivity losses, then asthma and allergy are more equal. If you look at asthma, it's very difficult what can be done to these direct costs, because medications are expensive, no change there, but better control of inflammation, we are able to really decrease these indirect costs to get better overall condition and better working capacity. In the last 20 years or so, the decrease has been in cost like about 70%. And the key message of our program is really to endorse and to promote a healthy lifestyle. Again, here's the pyramid. There's the clinical symptoms in the top. And if you track down the pathway down to immune dysresponsiveness, immune dysfunction, poor microbiome, biodiversity loss, we come down to us, the population at explosion, our daily lifestyle, urban lifestyle, what we eat and how we live our lives. And if we really want to improve our immune functions, we really need to take this natural step, live more close to nature. And here are the key elements. We promote natural childbirth, breastfeeding, less antibiotics, more microbiome supplementation, more soil connection, gardening, outdoor activities, a daycare, school, workplace, homes for elderly, eating fresh foods, berries, vegetables, and having contact to animals, for example, dog at home. And all this challenges our immune system, and as a result, we get more rich and diverse microbiota, better immune balance, and we are more healthy. Basically, walking in the forest extends your life expectancy. So in the last 50 or 70 years, we have moved from this farming culture into this urban lifestyle. And you can imagine that our immune system doesn't follow that fast. And on top of that, we have had all these elimination diets and so on. But we don't really have enough challenge to our immune functions in these modern societies. So they wanted to stop all this elimination and to improve our tolerance, to challenge our immune system throughout our daily life. And the future housing should look like this: more connection to nature, more animals, outdoor activities. But of course, this is not possible in the cities. So maybe the future cities should like this. We already have these buildings in Milan, Geneva, Paris. And for example, this building has rooms for 480 people, 1,600 birds and butterflies, 60 types of trees, 94 plant species. And you can really imagine that this really stimulates our immune functions better than the concrete jungle. And if we look at even larger picture, what are the safe operating zone for humanity, our living conditions on Earth. We have exceeded that in 3 areas. Here is the climate change. It's on the red zone. These are dangerous for humans to become kind of extinct. Then there's a nitrogen cycle, how much we pump out nitrogen out of atmosphere. The biggest event is the biodiversity loss. We destroy our nature, microworld and macroworld, green areas. So these are the real challenge to our existence.